Today on the table I have the SIG P238 and the M&P Bodyguard. Both firearms are chambered in .380. The SIG is a heavier firearm, and you will see a price split with the SIG and the Bodyguard of $187. The SIG being $187 more than the Bodyguard. The SIG is a longer firearm, a fatter firearm, and a touch taller. Controls. Slide release does work pretty good on the Bodyguard. It is easy to hit. This does have an external safety. Putting it on, it's almost impossible to get on. You actually have to take your finger and get it underneath there and flip it on because it is gated. Which that's a good thing, because you don't want to accidentally put on the safety on a concealed carry weapon. You can also order these without a safety. Coming off, quick swipe with your thumb. That's exactly what you want to see out of a safety. Magazine release. Very difficult to hit. You totally have to give up your normal shooting position and maneuver it around to be able to hit it. The Bodyguard does come with two different magazines. Neither of them give you a full grip. Either one, your pinky is dangling. Both of them are 6 rounds. But you do get that pinky extended one, which doesn't actually extend it far enough for your pinky. And then you get a flush mount magazine. Feels even less better. SIG controls. Slide release. Very easy to hit. This does have an external safety. This is not a double single. This is single action only, just like a 1911. So in order for this to fire, the hammer has to be cocked back. The safety is very easy to use, very easy to flip on and off. Now because it's a single action only, you have a couple different options. You can run it in what they call cocked and locked, hammer back on safety, or you can try to set the hammer down on a live round. Probably inside your house, probably inside your car, all in very unsafe places to do it. But yeah, you block the hammer with your thumb, pull the trigger, and then the hammer would stop. This does have a firing pin lock, so unless the trigger's being pulled, the firing pin can't move forward. So even if you were to set the hammer completely down, where it's actually resting on the firing pin, it's not going to be able to set the firearm off. So that is an option, but there is a cock point right before the hammer hits, right there, that'll also block it. So it's kind of up to you what you'd want to do. I mean, if you're setting the hammer down inside your house or your car, and you're rushing through it, or your finger slips, well, you've just had a negligent discharge. So you're almost better off just running this cocked and locked, or not running around in the chamber, which is probably actually how I would carry this firearm, just because of the setup on it. Like, if I went hammer down and for whatever reason it accidentally got on safety, that would cause problems. Or say I was cocked and locked and something got in there to block the hammer, pocket lint or anything that would prevent it from going off, that wouldn't be cool. So I'd probably just completely set the hammer down on an empty chamber, and that's how I would carry it. And then if I had to use it, rack it and go into action. The actual racking of the slide is actually quite easy on the SIG. Compared to the Bodyguard is noticeably harder, but I think that has less to do with the weight of the slide and more of what you have to grip on. SIG, much bigger surface area. People with weaker hands, like the elderly, females, some guys, they're gonna find this much easier to run. Now the magazine going in and out from your normal shooting position. Mag button, very easy to use, but going in, it's a bear. I mean, it takes a lot of force. You're better off coming in, leaving it down a little bit, and just slapping it. It's really the only way to do it. Sights, the SIG does have better sights. 3-dot system, very visible, very easy to pick up. Unfortunately, this particular SIG does not have night sights. I actually made a mistake and I thought they all shipped with night sights, so I just ordered the cheapest one, which really sucks because that was what I was going to revolve my whole sales pitch around. Night sights, higher quality of firearm. I actually have to send the firearm back today. I'm probably going to try to send this back and see if I can get the model with night sights, because at a $187 price split, comparing against a firearm that's lighter, smaller, and comes with 2 magazines, this is going to be really tough to sell. Not to mention it's a single action only. Where this, you know, it's set up like a revolver, and you explain that to people and they're like, oh yeah, I'm cool with that, and then they're more likely to keep a round in the chamber. Trigger brake. The Bodyguard, the trigger's so heavy when I first start to pull it, I get a shift in my front sight. But I correct that. The actual brake is pretty clean. I mean, comparatively speaking to other small 380s. The SIG. Pretty good as well. The trigger is a lot lighter on the SIG, and it's a lot shorter. There's your reset. Bodyguard. There's your reset right there. I would be a lot better with the SIG, just all around, how the trigger breaks, the faster follow-up shots. But even so, the SIG trigger is still so-so. Bodyguard trigger, you know, it's not terrible. With the SIG, when you purchase this, you get 1 magazine. You do get a pretty nice hard case, which is pretty much useless for concealed carry weapons because there's no point in having a case because it should be on you, it shouldn't be in a case. Unless, of course, you just want a small range toy, which this would do excellent as. Sticker, owner's manual, range flag, you also get a gun lock. With the Bodyguard, you get a soft case. You get 2 magazines, your pinky extended one, and your flush mount. Both are 6 rounds, which, speaking of which, the SIG is also 6 rounds. Gun lock, range flag, owner's manual. Now, with the price split, and all things considered, which one would I purchase if I was coming into the store? First off, if, you know, I'm coming into the store and this is a more expensive firearm and I can get either one for free, I would go with this just because of what it is. Now, pretending the price is the same on both of them, or I'm actually like having to pay for the firearm, you know, that's a really tough call. This kills the SIG on specs. Plus you get an extra magazine. Now say the SIG was a double single, or this was the one with the night sights, which I'm going to try to get the one with the night sights in there, it'd be a really tough call for me. I mean, I do love the quality of the SIG. I also really hate the fact that the Bodyguard has M&P on it. Which means we make firearms, we just don't like civilians to own them. So, I mean, it is a tough call. I mean, the trigger brakes, they're pretty similar. The trigger use is pretty similar, which is something I also really don't like about the SIG, because for a single action only firearm, I want a trigger that's like, wow, that is a good trigger. And it doesn't have it. I mean, if I'm going to have, you know, a reduced trigger, I'd rather this be a double single or maybe even a setup like the Bodyguard. So, I mean, realistically speaking, pretend this wasn't a SIG and it wasn't worth more, or pretending I'm actually having to pay for them, I probably would actually go with the Bodyguard. And you can also order the Bodyguard with night sights. But thanks for watching. Leave in the comments below which one you would pick and why. Don't forget to subscribe.
Sound penology, Warden. Very sound.
No matter how far back I try to pull this or how hard I rack it, it doesn't matter. I still have a dead trigger.